Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today I am excited to be bringing you another tutorial in my eye color series, and this one is on how to bring out green eyes. Now I have green eyes, but depending on what I am wearing or what shadows I use on my eyes can determine whether they look a little more bluish green or more green. So today I'm going to be focusing on making them look more green. And if you're new here, be sure you hit that subscribe button, and now let's get started. If you've seen any of my other videos in this series, you will be very familiar now with what's called the color wheel. And as I put it up on the screen, you're going to look directly across from green to see what complementary color is across from it. And that is the color that is going to bring out green eyes the best. But as you are looking at that bright fiery red, do not fear. I'll put up on the screen another color wheel that I think helps give a little better perspective. So even though red is the complementary color, you don't have to use just fire engine red. Think of other colors that have red in them. So we have red-based oranges, pinks. We also have red-based purples, and then we have varying tones of red like cranberry and burgundy. Now, as I said those tones, some of you are still a little intimidated to wear pink on your eyes or anything red tone because you're concerned that you're gonna look sick or tired. So as we go along, I'm gonna give you some extra tips of how to help prevent that from happening. Now, what palette am I going to use? I kid you not, I have about 15 palettes on my desk right now because I just couldn't decide. I have lots and lots of palettes apparently with lots of red tones in them because I gravitate towards those tones. But I have used many of these palettes in other videos, and I will link some of those tutorials down below. And if you stay tuned to the end, I'll give you some other options of palettes that have these kinds of shades in them. But for today, I decided to go through my collection of Makeup Geek shadows and put together my own little compilation of colors. Now, as you're looking at these, some of you are going, oh yeah, totally doable. And others are going, oh my goodness, there is red. I'm seeing red. Don't fear. Now, the other thing to note is some of these pans are square, which are her newest version of her shadows, and then some are round. So these are the older version, but I believe all of these older versions are available in the new pans. And what I do love is you can buy these shadows individually. You don't have to buy a set palette. She does have a lot of different palette options. So I just thought this might be a good way if you're somebody who doesn't want to buy a whole new palette, but just wants to have maybe a couple of shadows in your collection for those times when you really want to bring out the color in your eyes. So the first tip I have for you, if you are super intimidated by these red tones, apply your foundation first and even out your skin tone, because red-based shadows, just like a red lipstick, are going to bring out redness and pink tones in the rest of your skin. So you do want to make sure you have kind of a nice clean base to work with. Now, once you get more comfortable with these shades, you can apply your foundation whenever. But if you're just getting started with red tones, I would encourage you to start with your foundation first. So now, as always, I'm going to start with my Brow Bone Highlight shade. And this shade is called Banana Split. These are super pigmented, by the way. Using my Sigma E50, I'm just going to put a little bit of that on my brow bone. If you are paler than I am, she has So Pale or Vanilla Bean. And then she also has some deeper tones as well if you are a deeper skin tone. But just putting a little bit of that, like always, up at the brow bone. This is where I always like to start. I feel like this helps us get in our comfort zone, right? We're like, okay, this is a nice neutral. I'm okay with this. All right, now we're gonna go in with our crease color next. And I'm gonna start off easy with the shade right here. This is called Tuscan Sun, and I just love this color. It is a warmer pink base. So for me, because I have warm tones in my skin, I just love how this works with my skin tone. If you have cooler tones, you could start off with Cupcake. But I'm using a Morphe M504, and I'm putting this all through the crease. And again, I feel like this is kind of still comfort zone area, at least for me. You know, I'm not shy from wearing pink tones. So but I feel like this still has a little bit of neutrality in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put that all through the crease and build that up slightly here more in the outer corner. Now, you might already be able to see just a slight change in the color of my eyes, just with that little bit of pink, but we're gonna keep on going. So I'm going to go in now with the shade right below it, and this is called Berry Shady. This is such a pretty color. So you do see red, but it is a very muted red, and there's just a hint of some brown tones in there. So I feel like it makes it a little bit less scary. So I'm gonna go in with the BK Beauty 206 brush, and now just work this into the outer corner like I usually do. And these shadows are just such a wonderful formulation to work with. So if you've never tried Makeup Geek shadows, don't let their inexpensive price tag make you think that they are not great quality. These are probably my favorite individual shadow formula for the mattes especially. I do love Sydney Grace individual shadows as well, especially their pressed pigments, but look at that beautiful shade and see how easily that blended right into that pink shade. And again, I've kept this mostly to the outer corner. I am not going to be bringing any red shades all the way to the inner corner. We'll bring some across the lid in a moment, but that is one key to helping you not look sick, is to keep red tones away from the inner corner of your eye. But for now, we're going to just continue to build this up in the outer corner here and about halfway across through the crease. Now, I feel like I do a lot of tutorials where I keep the lid very bright, and you could definitely do that here. If you're just starting out, just stop here, do a bright shade on the lid, and then we'll finish the lower lash line. But because I want to stretch us just a little bit beyond, I'm now going to go in with this shade right here, which is called Curtain Call. Look at how beautiful that is. So it is a kind of a shimmer. It is a shimmer formula, but there's no huge flecks of glitter. It just kind of looks nice and metallic on the lid. So I am going to now place this on the center portion of the lid. And as I do that, hopefully you're going to be able to see the color of my eyes pop even more. Now from here, I am actually going to go in with this shade right here. This is called Nostalgic. And Curtain Call and Nostalgia, where am I at here? Curtain Call and Nostalgia, these are what is called her foiled shadows. And so these definitely apply best with your finger, but you can also wet your brush and make them more intense. So this shadow, I am going to use now on the inner corner. And as I said, one key is we don't want to bring our red shade all the way to the inner corner. So now we're going to use this shade, and I'm going to overlap that Curtain Call shade. And as I do, I'm just going to lightly tap over it. And you can see it's just providing that nice little bit of gradation of color. And because this is pink, it's kind of making that red look a little less intimidating, right? And then just to darken the outer corner just slightly, I'm gonna go in with the shade right here, which has been a long time favorite. It's called Cherry Cola, and I am using the BK Beauty 204 brush. And I'm going to now press this into the outer part of the lid here, just kind of right into the roots of the lashes. And then I will bring this up just a smidge here in the outer corner, just for a little added depth. And again, I feel like this also helps kind of create a little bit of a barrier here so that you don't have a ring of red. So by using a deeper red-based kind of plum shade, I feel like this kind of helps you not think that somebody's just ill, right? This is intentional. I just forgot how amazing her formulation is. I mean, these shadows just blend into each other just effortlessly, and they stay all day long. They're such a great formulation. Okay, before we finish up the upper lash line with liner, we're gonna go to the lower lash line. Now, you can already see a change in my eye color, but by bringing a color along the lower lash line, it is really going to enhance the color of your eyes. So if you're intimidated, or maybe you don't want to wear red up top, if you do something red based on the lower lash line, it's still going to help bring out the color of your eyes. Now I have several options. I think I'm going to use this new one by Bare Minerals, but let me show you a couple of others. So the Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury, that is a beautiful kind of red-based brown shade, a little less intimidating. It's not red. Charlotte Tilbury also did this duo for green eyes, and you'll see a nice matte plum tone. And then on the other side is kind of a shimmery, this one's more of a warmer tone than obviously Pillow Talk, but this one does have a little bit of shimmer. And then you'll see on the other side is a nice purple. So she's helping those of you who are like, I ain't doing red. And then another option would be the Pixie liner in Very Berry. And this is that red-based purple. So you can just see that. So this would be also a very great option. Very similar though to the one I'm going to use. This is brand new from Bare Minerals. This is the shade Garnet. So if you're familiar with your gemstones, you know it's going to be red-based. So it's not that far off from Very Berry. In fact, they're very similar. This one does, though, have a little bit of a metallic finish to it. So we're going to use this on the lower lash line. Now, if you're super brave, you could bring this in your waterline. And I've actually done that. And you're going to see this liner, even on the lower lash line, even though it looks pretty red on the hand, on the eyes, they did something really crazy with this formula, and there's like some dark tones that show up, so it does not come across super red. Now, I think I'm talking myself into putting this in my waterline, but if you're a little afraid of that, another way to help tone down that reddish look to keep you from looking like you are sick is to use a kind of flesh tone, not white, don't do white, but you could do a flesh toned liner in the inner rim. So this one's by L'Oreal. I believe the color is nude, so you could put that in the waterline, and that will help keep everything kind of the whites of your eyes looking bright. I'm just gonna go ahead and go for it. Let's just put a little bit of this. Now, I'm not gonna bring it all the way across my waterline, but just more into the roots of the lashes. And again, this is not a super red toned liner, so you can see there. I mean, it adds depth, but there is just a real soft hint of red when certain light catches it. Now going back to our palette, I'm going to use the Morphe M432 and a little bit of Curtain Call. And I'm going to use this just kind of in the center portion right here. Just right where, if I'm looking straight ahead, you're going to see the color of my eyes the most. And then on either side of it, I am going to use a little bit of Cherry Cola, just right here in the outer corner, right into the roots of the lashes, connecting it with the upper lash line there. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Tuscan Sun on this side of Curtain Call there, and use that just to softly diffuse the edge of that line. All right, now we are going to add a little bit of liner to the upper lash line, but not until after mascara. I know, keeping you guessing. This is different. All right, so we're gonna clean up with a little bit of almond oil here. All right, I applied some concealer and powdered the face. Now I'm going to curl my lashes and apply a good bit of mascara. This is another key. So I'm using the Lancome Cils Booster XL as my primer. It Cosmetics Superhero on the upper lashes, and then Thrive Cosmetics on the lower lashes. Okay, now I told you we were gonna go back and address the upper lash line with liner. Well, what we're going to do is something I watched Lisa Eldridge do, and I tried it and was shocked how well it worked. So we're gonna use a liquid black liner on the inner rim of the upper lash line. Now we're not gonna take it all the way across, but what we're gonna do is use the liquid liner to just fill in the gaps, and so that you don't see any of the skin. Now, if this scares you or you just don't have a liquid liner, you can use a pencil liner in the same way. But I just love how precise you can be. You can just get this right in between the lashes. So this is also a tip if you're not great with your mascara at getting real super close to the lash line. You can go back with a liquid liner. I'm using the KVD Tattoo liquid liner, and this is in the black shade, which I believe is Trooper, but this is just a sample size. So I have purchased the full size many times, but this is actually waterproof once it sets. So I find it actually dries fairly quickly. I've never had any issues with this actually running into my eyes as I'm applying it. So it's not so wet. So that's the key. You don't want one of those liquid liners that has a well that you dip your brush in, because that is going to get everywhere. But something like this is going to work well, and you can see it just darkened that kind of the flesh part of the upper lash line, but it didn't cover any of that beautiful red eyeshadow that we have going on. For the inner corner, you could definitely go back with Nostalgia, but I'm gonna go ahead and go in with, oh, this one right here, Shimma Shimma. This is another classic Makeup Geek shadow, and it is so nice and brightening. It has a gentle little hint of kind of some champagne to it. So instead of being pink, it is more of a champagne shade. So again, I feel like that kind of brightening the inner corner with a shade like this also helps keep your eyes from looking sick and tired. And then I just want to go back one more time with Tuscan Sun. I am just a perfectionist. Some of you think, oh my goodness, how many steps? But if you did a good job with your concealer and you didn't cover up any of your lower lash line, then you don't have to do these extra steps. But I just like to go back sometimes after concealer and just kind of reinforce that inner part of the lower lash line, wipe off my brush, and then just kind of gently fade that into the inner corner there. All right, now that we've got all this red and drama on our eyes, we need some color on our cheeks. So I'm first gonna go in, this is the Lorac contour palette. I'm going to use the medium contour shade with the Sigma F05 and use this to contour. I haven't used this in a while, and every time I do, I remember how great it really is. A little contour on the nose. I'll go in with the BK Beauty 103, and I want a little bit of warmth before I add blush. So this is the Bare Minerals bronzer in Warmth. So great description. We're gonna add warmth with warmth. So I'm just gonna use this now more on the tops of the cheeks. This is another lovely formula. It's not completely matte, but it's close. I mean, it has a little bit of maybe more of a satin finish, but it's not gonna highlight texture on your skin. And I feel like this is a formulation and a product that nobody talks about much anymore, but it is a really good bronzer. So you could definitely go neutral with your blush, but you know me, want to shy away from an opportunity to wear color, right? One option that would be great if you have it is the Kiss of Rose from Bare Minerals. This was limited edition. I don't know if they have restocked it, so I don't want to get you all excited about a product that you can't get. So, but if you have this, this would be a great blush. Again, you could go more neutral. You could do something like the Bare Minerals Let's Go Nude. You could do something like that. This is another good option. This is But First Coffee from Bare Minerals. But I think I'm gonna go to one of my favorites when I'm just not sure, and you can see just this wonderful swirl. This is Tropic Hues by Laura Geller, and such a beautiful formulation. I'm using the E4 from Morphe, and this just has the perfect blend of colors for me personally, and it's very buildable. So you can go with a light wash or build it up with more intensity because it has the swirl of all of these colors. I just think it ties in really colorful eye looks really well, especially warm toned looks like this. I'm just going to take a little bit of that blush, kind of connect it to the outer corner of the eye slightly. For highlighter, I'm going to use another one I haven't used in a while. This is the Persona Cali Glow Highlighter in Zuma, and it's just a really pretty highlighter. Has a hint of some gold. So again, because I have warmer tones to my skin, I like to bring in a more golden toned highlighter, especially when I have a little bit of sunless tan on, or a lot, as in the case today. So I'm gonna start first with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot around the edge of the lips. And I know some of you are new here and you're going, what on earth are you doing that for? I do have an updated video coming about how to prevent lip liner and everything from bleeding. And this is the first tip, so we've got a head start on that video. But this will help keep our lip liner, our lipstick, our lip gloss from creeping out the outside of our lip line. For lip liner, going in with one of my current favorites, this is Smashbox Be Legendary Line and Prime in Deep Mauve. Now with this eye look, again, you could go very neutral, kind of nude on the lips, but I think I want to bring in a little bit of a berry tone since we're heading into fall too. I just think it's the perfect time. So I pulled out a few options, but I think the one I'm going to go with is Charlotte Tilbury Bond Girl. This is a really pretty kind of mid-tone berry shade, but I feel like it's not super bright. All right, now here is our finished look. And hopefully now with my dark green shirt on, you can really see the green in my eyes. Now I'll insert a before and after picture. And as I mentioned, you don't have to use such a bold shade on your lips if that is intimidating to you. But I wanted to include that today because a bold lip can also bring attention to your eye color. So if you wanted to go more light and neutral on your eyes, but bring in a color like this that's kind of in those reddish burgundy shades, that will also kind of draw attention to your eye color because it is a complementary color. So it is going to help bring out your green eyes. Now, in the beginning, I did promise to give you a few other palette options that you may already own or that you might prefer to purchase instead. And I have used most all of these palettes in various videos. So if I can find all the tutorials that correlate with these palettes, I'll link them in the description box below. The first one I know right off, I have actually 3 looks, 1 palette video with the Naked Cherry palette. And this definitely goes more into the berry tones, but these all really look beautiful, especially on green eyes. The next would be, if you want to go more in the reddish orange kind of category, would be the Naked Heat. Again, these colors really do help bring out your eye color, but they're more in that kind of burnt orange family. So sometimes people find that a little less intimidating. Recently, I did a tutorial using the Natasha Denona Love and Mini Love palette. These shadows in here, again, look at that bright red. I'm sure everybody's like, okay, I'll never use that, but hey, maybe you will now. But then we also have these nice reddish plum shades in there, beautiful. I also, of course, love the Sunrise palette from Natasha Denona. I think a lot of these shades look beautiful, really green, pull out green eyes. You've got that reddish plum, that reddish pink, you know, bright fuchsia pink, yes. For a smaller palette, the Lawless, the baby one, I love this palette and I find this so easy to create looks with. And it does have that red, but this is more of a kind of burnt red shade. I don't find it nearly as intimidating as a bright one. Also, the Sigma Warm Neutrals. I think this, oops, just dropped the brush. This also has some of those tones. This is more of a pink leaning red, pinkish or warm pink red, and I think this is a beautiful palette as well. And then another one by Sigma is the smaller one. This is the Rosy, it's Rosy is what it's called. And again, this one has more of a, well, more of a neutral red shade, but again, all of these shades look beautiful, especially on green eyes. So I hope that this video was helpful for you, whether you have green eyes and you really want to know how to make them stand out, or you've just wondered how in the world to wear red eyeshadow. Hopefully the tips I shared today will be helpful to you. As always, I will leave in the description box below this video links to all of the products that I used today, as well as all of the palette options and tutorials that correspond with those palettes. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.